Hello, I'm Paula for Lisa Horton Crafts, and today, I'm sharing something that is very, very dear to my heart, which is the ink school. Now, why is there is a need for the ink school? Well, ink pads can be so confusing. What is what? What do you use for water markers, alcohol markers? What do we use for blending techniques like full bleaching? And it gets confusing, right? So we have developed this ink school and with a reference guide that we are going to talk throughout to make it easy to understand not only Lisa Horton Crafts, but also what it is that make them so special. Now, to why did I come up with this idea? Well, basically, I have been fascinated by color and inks and stamping for many years, and little by little, I developed this system to explain it in the crafter's terms. What is the difference between pigment and dye, and so on and so forth. So hopefully, you stay along for the whole series of videos to understand all those concepts. And well, you know what? I have created a reference guide that you can have access with that QR code that is on the website, on the screen, and then you can have download it or have other versions of it. And therefore, you have got that reference to everything that I talk throughout. Now, one of the things I'm going to recommend is that you print out at 100%, because if you do that, now, you can see it here that you will have the perfect printouts that will correspond with stencils that we are going to talk through as well. That they have been designed to match up these perfect downloads of printouts. Now, there is ways of, you can see here that there are some by color, some by releases, there are some, but they kind of are a comprehensive guide to all the inks and also allow you to have a kind of a guide to blending different types of inks, and so you can see them. Now you can see that that's what you're gonna kind of be able to have in your hands, but then once that you start kind of putting the color in with the ink pads, you're going to have a guide. Now, there are different ways of assembling it. I kind of recommend to getting something like a binder and, these pockets. Now, if you do that, then of course they're a little bit more protected. I just folded them in half, and that way, of course, the colors are going to look pristine forever. But you can also fold them and glue them if you prefer to do that. But this is more or less how it's going to end up looking like. And of course, this, for instance, showcases, let me take them out because that way you can always do that. And for instance, this is one of the pages that I really, really like. The fact that is you can mix different types of inks. So this is just simply how you, the reference guide that you can get using the QR code. There is lots more content that we are going to have a look throughout this series of videos. So shall we get started into the stencils? So one of the things that I was very keen to develop was a stencil system that makes color charting really easy and efficient, but also accurate. And so for that reasons, I did the color swatch and blends. And you have got a set of two, which are circles. And you can see when you line them up with that peg system that Lisa Horton stencils do, is phenomenal with your ulti-mate, but you can use it without it as well if you don't have it yet. And then you have got the ovals there as well. So that means that you can use it for your blends because you need a little bit bigger area to make sure that you kind of achieve that perfect blend as well. And of course, you can use them for other projects if you wanted to, as like oval kind of elements. And let me tell you a sneak peek as well. It matches some die sets that we have got on the range. So let's start by the beginning. So let's go for the color chart or color swatches. Now you have got yes, there, you can see there, you can have color swatches 1, and of course you have got the color swatches 2 there as well. There it is. Right, so the first thing you're going to notice that it has got those little corners there and there. Now they are designed so whether you are in the UK or Europe that you're using an A4 system print, or you are in America and you use the letter size, this is going to be a guide, these little corners in here, on how to lay them out. So when I put them in here. So for instance, if you were using a letter size, you would use that little corner to lay them perfectly, and with your letter size paper. And if you are in Europe, you can use the other one. So like that is for the letter size, and that's for your A4 size. So when you put it with the PEG system, and there you go. It is attached there with your ulti-mate and your tacky mat. If you don't have a ulti-mate, you can always use a little bit of low tack tape in here as well. So I'm using the Color Chef, one of the latest releases of the Lisa Horton Craft inks. However, if we bring out new releases of inks, there will be matching downloads, so you can print them out as well and enhance and kind of what your ink school download guide. Right, so I'm going to put it in here, and I'm going to go for Peanut Glow. Now, I tend to start with yellows and oranges because that's one of the things that in many art school and art material shops, they start always with yellow. So that's why it comes in my style of lining anything by color. Right, so I have it there, and the reason why you have got two swatches stencils is because I wanted a clean area to, you know what I mean? If you had them a circle here, I couldn't be doing this kind of blend outside of the color. Now you can see that the Color Shift has got a metallic look. So it's a matte ink, but with a shimmer. And if I lift it, you will be able to see it a bit more. There it is. You can see it there. There it is. There you can see a bit. There we're gonna go in. But if on white is gonna work in a way, however, I'm gonna put a semicircle. Now this matches one of the, or this you can get with one of the die sets that from the Ink School, which is the bookmark set. And then I'm gonna put this, I'm gonna put a little bit of glue, and then you can see it, the difference that it will make. Now you can do, and I recommend to put the semicircle before you color in, but I wanted to show you the difference between having it just with white or then having the semicircle with black heart. Now that should be dry, so I'm gonna go in, and you can see as well how gorgeous the difference is gonna be for your color chart to have the darker cards. So I'm going to lift it up so you can see it better. There you go. There. So that way you can see it on black and on white perfectly there. Right, so then we want to do, and I would do all of the one circles that are in this stencil. And imagine that I had done them all. And then I would take this set number 2, by which time they should be dry. If they haven't been dry, then you, of course, you use a heat gun or something like that to make sure the colors are dry. And then I have got coral waters in here. So now I'm going to do it properly this time. I'm going to take my glue, and of course you can use your choice of. I love the High Tide by Lisa Horton Crafts because it really has such a good grab, but also little water contents, which means that it doesn't wrinkle the card. And ultimately, it's also acid and lignin free, which means that year after year, it's going to look exactly as it is. So perfect position in there. I'm going to take a clean brush or a color matching brush. And again, I'm going to go in here. And you can see how I'm blending in. And I don't have to worry about contaminating colors because, of course, we want to make sure that is a good reference in terms of colors. Then I would go do the whole thing. And, of course, you don't have to clean those stencils until you have completed the whole chart. Now I have got one here that I did for interference, the release number 1, and you can see them how neatly they all look. And you can see as well that onto the black heart looks slightly different. There is also in the interference, and the words might change a little bit from what you're seeing now to what you are going to download, because of course we are going to make sure that you are getting the perfect instructions for everything. And there might be some errors at the minute that they are going to be corrected later on. Right, lifting it up, of course, what you can do is put it into your reference guide if you have got the poly pockets, if you want it. Or the other thing that you could do as well, if you prefer it, is to fold them like this and then glue those sides to create like more like a book. It's up to you how you do it. They all work whatever works for you. Let me do the blending interference kind of stencils, the blending ones. I said interference, it's just a blending, color blends stencils. They are a little bit bigger, but they work exactly the same way. You can use them with the reference here, for instance. And what I have done is I have given you some kind of guidance of matte blending plus interference, then matte blending plus metallics, color shift, and so on and so forth. So you kind of test them, see how the blends work for you. And of course, these semi-ovals are also part of the bookmark die set. So again, you will have the perfect match die that you can just die cut a few of them, have them there ready, and then you can have the perfect blends in there. Also, that semi half oval is also part of the die set, and they work exactly the same. You put the first number one, and then you put the number two again. So again, easy, clean, and simple. One of my favorite parts of the Ink School reference guide is the color wheel one. Now, if you're getting the downloads, you will see one page that has got the color wheel elements in here, an explanation. Now, this one, of course, if you have got the downloads, you can print as many as you want. And remember, if there are any misspelling mistakes, hopefully the one you're going to get is going to be rectified. Now, in here, you have got the color wheel in terms of warm colors, so it's all that section, to the cool colors in that one. Of course, if you get the stencils, the color wheel stencils, you are in for a treat, because it's going to be so much easier to get the right color wheel with your ink pads than the traditional ones. Why I'm saying that is because traditionally you would get the color wheel that is something like this, right? And it would be kind of difficult sometimes to get the colors cleanly, because the differentiation between colors of the dividers are not as thick, right? So if you kind of see it like this is why we are used to it. So what I wanted to have is a selection of stencils, so layering stencils. So the first one is actually the primaries. So you can see here is laser edge in the primaries. And of course, when you layer it up with the download or the printout, you will have that this one is the yellows, this one is the cyan or blues, and then of course that one is the magentas, those pinky reddish. Now, they have got a hole in the middle, and that's important because it helps you to line up, but also coordinates with a die set as well. Now, something else that you may have noticed is those laser edges, squares in corner here. And that means that, well, they are at 5 inches, 5.5, and of course, 6 inches. Now, if you layer them there with your 6-ish card from Lisa Horton Crafts, it will match perfectly. So there we go, the middle one there. It will match perfectly. So there's a lot of things that you can do them, not just on the printouts, but also onto cards like this. Then that was the primaries. Then we have got the secondaries as well. So then, of course, that means that is if I layer them like this, you can see secondaries. But also, if I lay them like this, you can see how we are building that color wheel. And then finally, we have got the tertiaries, which are the colors in between. And that creates that full color wheel that we were talking at the beginning. And the reason why we have given you as well that full color wheel is if you, for instance, wanted to give it all spritz of water, this will make it easier, or maybe a glitter paste over it. Now, we also have got 2 sets of masks, and I will explain how they work. So you can see that the mask 1, no mask number 2, and then we have got the inserts as well. All very easy to line up. So let's start with the printout here. Now, I'm going to go in with the, I'm going to go with the primers. I'm going to start at the beginning. So there are different ways in which you can line up. And of course, if you are printing out on a letter size, you will use that first corner at the very top. Here you can see it there. If you have got an A4 or European, like you in Europe or in the rest of the world, you can line it up with that one as well. Obviously, printers sometimes change it a little bit, so you can always make sure that you kind of visualize that it fits within the printout and as the stencil. Right, so I'm going to pay attention now. I'm going to start with the yellows. I'm using the matte blending first release from Lisa Horton because I think it's a great way to showcase the actual color wheel. So I'm going to go with the yellows first, and I tend to go heavier on the top and then kind of gently blend those the ink throughout. There we go. Now, always put the lid back. I'm using the chunky brushes as well. Now, I'm going to go in with Deep Ocean for my blues in here. And then I'm going to go with Surf's Up. And I will explain why. Because the color wheel is kind of a traditional color wheel. The explanations tells you exactly which colors. But however, some of the collections that you have got out there of inks will have more of the blues, will be more towards lighter colors or more, more I would say cool colors or something like that. So just be flexible in the terms of making your color wheel work for you. So because I know, for instance, the Deep Ocean, it's more of a purpley blue, if you know what I mean. So that's what I'm going to change it to. And now I'm going to go for the magenta, which this time I'm going to go for the strawberry sundae here. Or shall I go for sugar candy? This is the thing. You can play around a little bit. I'm going to go with the strawberry sundae. And if you don't have say for instance, you are doing a proper color wheel like I'm doing now, you can mix them up. So I'm going to show it when it comes to tertiaries. So I'm going to go in here with strawberry sundae. And then I'm going to take that one away. I'm going to go in with my secondaries. All right, so I'm going to go with this. So now I'm going to go in with the woodland moss for the green. Now, these traditionally would be a more, warm green or more light yellow. But you can always do what I kind of do with this was you can always add another layer of color. Then I'm going to go with the purple. So there it is, the purple. So I'm going to go with the spice plum. There it is, purple. So yeah, kind of sometimes it pays to pay attention. And I have got the purple. And then the orange, which is early sunrise. Okay, so I'm going to go with my chunky brush and then orange in here. Right. So you can leave it. Sometimes I like to leave that one a little bit lighter because I wanted more of a, tint of the color, which is a lighter version of color. There we go. So when I take it out, you can see how I'm building. And then finally, I'm going to go with the tertiaries. Now, if you are doing a color wheel of the ink pads, don't look at the color wheel per se. Just do one at a time and try to do yellows and greens and so on. If you want to do a true color, color guide, rather color wheel rather than an ink pad wheel, then is when you're going to start mixing your colors. So this is what I'm going to do now. I want a lime green. So therefore, I'm going to start with the yellow because the yellow first here. Because I don't have that limey green in this collection. So I wanted to recreate it. Then I'm going to take the woodland moss. If you are one of the people that is lucky to have all the colors, then what you can do is mix and match from the collection. So for instance, here I would put a margarita, which is a beautiful ink pad from, I think is the either release number 1 or 2. Right, so if I lift it up, you can see how it's a bridge between those two colors because it's a mix. Now the teals, this one I know that we have got tranquil waters, so I'm going to put tranquil waters here. And then I'm going to put that, so I'm going to put the teal here. And that way you are building a truish kind of color wheel, a reference, cool lilac. So again, here we can go in with deep ocean. So I'm going to take my blue one. And if you wanted to make it a true color wheel, then you want to add a little bit of spice plum here, right? So I'm going to go in to blend those colors well. Not too much, just kind of a little bit. And again, I'm going to lift it up so you can see how that color wheel is working. And then I'm going to do quickly these ones the same way. So for instance, I don't have a warm yellow. What I'm going to do is create one. So here we have got, now I have created, those hues that are accurate to that color wheel. And when I lift it up, we have got a proper color wheel. Now, let me show you another thing. Now we have got a color wheel that is perfect in here in terms of hues, mixing up the different inks to recreate that proper color, color hues. Right, but we want to create tints and shadows. So hence why there is the masks, because for instance here, we want to keep the outside accurate, but we want to create a little bit of a shadow in here. So what we are going to do, or you could do, is then position it like this and go in with, for instance, the anthracite, which is a kind of, it's a black, but then of course, if you go very softly, it will create like a gray. The same thing, if you want to create the shadow, to create a tint, if you want to kind of on the center, you can do that. And that's how I created this one. You can see that this one has a slight more gray color, or this is a shadow, and this is a tint because that's lighter. And that's what I did, kind of mask those that way. So there is a lot of different ways to use with the stencil, the color wheel. I'm really excited to introduce you to the color wheel die set. And this works in companionship with the color wheel stencil, but of course it works perfectly well on its own. It is a set of dies, and you can see them here, that allow you to create color wheels with your own inks. So this is the interference-free inkers. It allows you to create color wheels with pieces of card if you want to do that. And of course, it allows you to use in combination, as I mentioned, with the stencil set, and it will match perfectly there as well. So you have got all those options available to you. If you wanted to do a color wheel that is traditional, you can use with the stencil, and then just use the outer die, because that is a separate one, to die cut the larger circle. What I would recommend though is to die cut first the outer one, like so, and then use this one to position it perfectly the center. And by the way, you have got two of them, just so if you lose one, you have got the second one. That's simply that it is. And then you can cut the perfect hole in there. To join them, well, you have got It's not a brad, it is a trad because it has got 3 legs, very long legs. What means is that you can put them like this, and this is cut out of metallic card, and then you can join them like so, open the legs in here, and you will have that brad. Now you have got washers as well, so you can put it in here. You could even glue them if you wanted to make it a little bit stronger, but that allows you to have that perfect color wheel. Now you might look at it and you're thinking, what is that piece? Well, this piece is the one that will cut these elements. And you know, it's black and you're thinking what it is for. Well, I have die cut several ones and again, join them with that trad and then glue them on the back to make them a little bit reinforced. By the way, this is one of the dies that you have got on the set as well. And these will allow me to say, for instance, I have got the stencil card here, and then I kind of want to see, for instance, how this color combo is going to work. So I wanted maybe some yellow, maybe I wanted a green. No, actually, I wanted more of a blue. See how this is going to work. Maybe what about that purple and that orange? Maybe I don't want the orange. I don't want the red either. So I can positioning them like this, and then I can see exactly this color combination. Do I like it? Don't I like it? And that is how it works. That can work with this position. But there is more to it. This die also comes in, you can see here, with these little swatches, little dies that it's optional if you want to cut them out of I don't know how you're gonna call it, almost like the blinder. It's a blinder, isn't it? And so you can create that as well. So it's another way of, if you wanted to, put it on here, and then you can see with more specific kind of natures like, oh, well, I actually want to see that shadow of color, that one with white, and then what about this color there? So again, it allows you to be very precise on the way that you display, or you cannot you choose your colors. Because it's a die, you can create as many as you want. And also you can change your mind. For instance, here I say, well, actually, I want to take it out of here, and I want to use this one, and this one. And then I'm going to take that, open the brad or trad actually, and then place them in here. And then you can see the center, how they work, and then go like this. And then I'm going to go with a solid one in here. You can put as many as you want, obviously within the limits of your brad. But I think I have done up to 10 layers of, no, actually 12, I think, of this. And again, you can see how you can then use it all in one go. I have put this semicircle so it's easy as well to rotate them if you wanted to. You could even glue them on the side if you wanted to put some tape on the back, so it's more of a triad or kind of so you can see exactly if there is 3 colors or 4 colors and so on and so forth. So this is how the die set works. But of course, remember, what you can do is like cut several of these ones, glue them on top of here. You have got a pattern as well. Or you have got, like I have done here, like little pools. And then I spritz some water, drop some ink, and there you have it, a color wheel for your reinkers. And of course, these you can then put a white one on the top as well to see how you like it, the difference. So this is the color wheel die set. I think it's a really great way to learn a bit about color, but more importantly, have fun and make it easy.